Hi peeps, it's Terry here for your second installment of Dream, Strive, Become. So it's a new series that I want to do here on my channel about inspiration, thought-provoking, ways that we can help each other. You can leave me information in the comments if you have some suggestions. So I'm hoping that it's interactive and that we have a really good time. Last week I talked about several books that I'm reading, and one of those was Girl Wash Your Face. I have new lights. I'm just now learning how to use them, so we'll see how this works. This morning I happened to get up at 5:45 in the morning, which is not normal. And my husband got up and I couldn't go back to sleep, and I'm still off for the holidays. So this coming Monday is going to be a tough one for me. But anyway, so I thought, I'm going to shower. So I got a shower, I got ready, and I didn't have to leave until like 9 o'clock to go to yoga class. I thought, I have time to read my Bible, write in my journal, read something else. I had like 2.5 hours before time to go after I'd gotten ready. So one of the things after I did my morning read through scriptures and stuff was to pick up this book and pick up where I left off, which was in chapter 6. It really spoke to me. I don't know about you, but I have a lot of dreams and goals that I never really attained. It was something always came up, something was always more important, it was too hard, or maybe I'm not good enough to do it. And so this chapter really spoke to me a lot. So I'm going to read a little bit of it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Just as a side note, I do not know Rachel Hollis. Rachel Hollis does not know me. No one's paying me to say this. I just really, really am enjoying her book, and I think that you could get some value out of it too, potentially. So in chapter 6, it's talking a lot about your goals and what are some of the main reasons why people don't attain their goals. What is it that makes us not go after them? You'll see me look down because I have notes and stuff, but there were really 3 main reasons that Rachel talks about of why we give up on our dreams, and they are because a voice of authority tells us to, basically tells us to give up on them or to not to do them and that type of thing. Or it's difficult, and or it's taking too long. We are in a society that's like, give it to me now. I don't want to wait. Hurry, hurry. If it's been more than a week, seriously, can I be an overnight star in a week? And then the third one is something traumatic gets in your way. And that's a very interesting one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the chapter and through each one of those items and talk about the different things that Rachel said in her book. I'm just going to give you some snippets. I'll read a few passages that I think were really good. But frankly, I think you should get the book. It's really, really a good book. She has some hysterical anecdotes in it, and she talks about her own goals and challenges that along the way. She gives a lot of personal examples. So it's really cool that we can learn from her, from some of her examples. I'm old, so I'm 55 years old, and so it's amazing that I've got this far in life and still haven't achieved some of the goals that I had from long ago. So I found this book to be very inspiring. So let's take a look at it. One of the main things, of course, and I have heard this really a lot over the last, I'd say 3 to 6 months, different podcasts that I've listened to, or books that I've read, or shows that I've watched have talked about the importance of writing down your goals. I've always kept them in my head. It's like in my head is all the dreams and goals that I want to do. Well, writing them down made a big difference, and it really kind of brought some stuff to the forefront for me. And I did that a couple months ago from something that I read, and I think the way that Rachel talks about it in her book is really cool. So let's take a look at chapter 6. And if you have the book, or if you're going to get the book, it's page 60. So she says, let's talk about the goals you have for your life and how you can help yourself achieve them. In order to do that, you have to name your goals. You need to write them down to really get them in front of you. She says, get out a piece of paper and write it down. Maybe write down 10 dreams. Maybe start with little innocuous things and keep writing until the truth comes out. Then she says a couple of funny things that I can't deliver, so I'm going to skip those lines. And then she says, so we're going to pretend like we went through and we wrote down. So this morning I actually did stop. I stopped reading. I got out my notebook and I started writing down some of the things that I've wanted to do for a very long time. And it was really kind of fun to see them all written down. And it literally was like, oh, some of those are pretty lofty goals. So she said, if after you've written them down, if this is still a dream you have, then chances are you've experienced some rejection where this dream is concerned. I got to thinking about that on my own life, and I thought, I can see that. Whether it be family, friends, or co-workers, or whomever it might be, I can look over my past and see that there were areas where people kind of discouraged me from moving forward. And so I thought that was very enlightening. She then says, some of the reasons why people give up on their dreams, which are the ones I just read to earlier, but let's talk about the first one. Some people quit because a voice of authority tells them to. Voice of authority can mean all sorts of things. Maybe your first boss said you weren't right for your dream job, and you believed it. Maybe a parent, out of love or fear or caution or their own issues, told you not to try. Maybe a spouse or partner or best friend was afraid of what would happen to your relationship if you grew, and so they tried to keep you anchored to the ground. Maybe that voice of authority said you're not right for it. Someone said you're too fat to train for a marathon, or that you're too young to build your own business. They said you're too old to take dance lessons. They said you're too female to travel by yourself. I see my nose is super red. Side note, I have no idea why. I look like Rudolph. I do not have a cold. Back to the book. Maybe the voice of authority is your own. Maybe the negative self-talk in your head has been playing on repeat for your entire life. I definitely have some of that. So I got to thinking about that, and I thought, what are some of the things in my past where maybe authority figure or someone, an expert, sometimes when we think of authority, we think policeman, or something, like that. But it could be anybody. It could be an expert. An expert could say, you really kind of suck, so maybe you shouldn't do that. One of the examples that Rachel gives in her book, which I found to be very interesting, was that her first book that she published, a literary agent contacted her and said, hey, have you thought about writing blah, blah, blah? So Rachel wrote some to her and sent it to her, and so she told Rachel, she said, oh, I could sell this all day long. Well, as they began trying to pitch it to publishers, she was getting rejection notices, and they were nice rejection notices. I know 30 years ago, I think it was, I wrote a book, Barney's Barefoot Adventure. I will never forget it. And I sent it to probably 30 different publishers. I got all kinds of rejections. It was, doesn't fit our style of our company, or whatever the case may be. I would get, some of them were postcards, some of them were letters, some of them were emails at the time, which was very few and far between, because 30 years ago they were rare to use that form of communication. But it was disheartening to me, and I put that on the shelf. And when I go back and I think about it, I think, you know, that was actually a pretty good children's book, if I do say so myself. I should have probably pushed forward on that. I didn't think about self-publishing. I don't think that was quite as relevant as it is today. The internet has come quite a long ways from when it was 30 years ago, obviously. But Rachel, I think it was three different publishers contacted her to come in and talk about her potential book. She was all excited at first. She was like, oh, this is awesome. You know, they want to hear more about my book, blah, blah, blah. Well, the first time she went in, she was really surprised. They gave her all kinds of accolades. You know, we love your style. We love your web presence. We love what you represent. And however, there's always a but or a however or something. And it was, they thought the book was too sweet. Nobody was going to read that with that sweet of a character. They wanted her to steam it up. They said it needed steam. If she would add some steaminess to it, they knew they could sell it. Well, at first she really wasn't sure what steaminess meant or what steam they were referring to, but it was about the time 50 Shades of Grey came out, so it didn't take long for her to figure that one out. But she politely declined. She did not do it. And this was, that happened with 3 different publishers. If you read the book, you'll get the better story than my just giving you a gist of how it goes. But basically, 3 different publishers called her in to talk about it. She thought it was going to be a really exciting opportunity, and it ended up. They wanted her to change. They wanted her to change what she had written. They wanted her to spice it up, and that wasn't true to who she was. So she was like, thanks, but no thanks. So if it had been me, I probably would have done what I did with Barney's Barefoot Adventure, which is chuck it. Leave it on the shelf, not really think any more about it, and think I suck. Well, in today's age, she was able to research and find out what it meant to self-publish. So she actually self-published that book without adding any steam to it. It was slow to take off. It sold a few here, a few there, 45 here. But then all of a sudden, it's kind of started snowballing. And what was happening was women were reading it, and they were telling their friends about it. Oh my God, you got to read this book. It's so good, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? The reason that it became such a success is that the women actually liked the purity of the character in the book. They liked that this person was wholesome and that she was, you know, not steamy. So I think that's kind of interesting how when the experts, aka the authorities, told her, it's not really what we need, not what we're looking for, they were wrong. So that's a really great example of where authorities may have said, hey, not right, you're not gonna make it, do it our way, or you don't stand a chance. Luckily for us, Rachel didn't listen and she went ahead and self-published that book. She is now a famous author with several best-selling books. So I thought that was a really great example of how authority may tell you not to. The next reason, let me find my page number because I rambled on and did not follow my notes at all, which is not surprising to those of you who follow me. Page 66 of her book, if you happen to have it, it says, another reason people give up on their dreams. It's difficult and or it's taking too long. We're definitely a society of give it to me now. Seriously? I can't be a rising star in a week, in a month? You want me to work for it? Yeah. Isn't, you know, it's not made overnight, people. Goals are really hard, and they do take a while. She gave some really good examples of, see if I can find it. Julia Childs, it took her 10 years to write Mastering the Art of French Cooking, so that clearly wasn't overnight. James Cameron worked on Avatar for 15 years. Can you imagine? 15 years working on a dream and a goal and sticking to it and thinking this is going to be successful. Can you imagine the amount of people that told him that you have lost your mind. This is, oh, sorry, my dog just came down here. So things don't happen overnight. Oh, here's something interesting she put. I underlined. It says, this is the difference between living a life you always dreamed of or sitting alongside the death of the person you were meant to become. How many times have we thought of something like, oh, that's a great idea. Nothing ever happens. Nothing, you don't do anything with it. You had this great idea. And a year or two later, you're like, oh, I thought of that. And someone else came out and they did it. And they're highly successful doing what you thought of a year or more previous. Sorry, my eye itches. So she says, the only thing worse than giving up is wishing that you hadn't, which I thought was very interesting. And the last item was something traumatic gets in your way. So she says, your dream is worth fighting for. And while you're not in control of what life throws at you, you are in control of the fight. The last reason people give up on their dreams, something traumatic gets in your way. Disaster is the ultimate excuse. It's a great excuse for us. Oh my God, this happened, or whatever. It could be a divorce. It could be, what's she put in here? A divorce, an illness, or something even worse than that, is a great excuse for us to not move forward. She says, divorce or illness or something far worse happens to you, and sometimes the goals slip quietly into the background and get left there. We leave them because this trauma is so heavy we just can't carry one more thing. Sometimes trauma happens, and if we're being honest, a part of us rejoices thinking, well, nobody can expect anything else from me because it's a miracle that I'm even upright right now. She says, let me take a moment to tell those of you who are dealing with and fighting through something painful. It is a miracle that you're sitting here. You are nobly doing your best to battle your way through. You are a warrior because of the trials you are going through. But don't you dare squander the strength you have earned just because the acquisition of it was painful. Those are the most important stories to share. You can use that strength to pave a path for others to follow along behind. I've shared many of my own painful stories in the chapters of this book, and none of them have been easy to talk about. But I do it because I hope that sharing them, I'm able to help some of you who've walked through similar things. I've also talked about my own goals and dreams and the ways I've pushed myself to achieve them. Every single one of those dreams has served a purpose in my life. Sometimes it was a small change, and sometimes it was life-changing. But in every circumstance, I grew for having walked through it. She says, friends, it's not about the goal or the dream you have. It's about who you become on your way to that goal. Which I loved that. I thought that was great. I'm looking at my highlighted notes. Those are all personal. I shan't be sharing them. So, your goals and dreams, how many of them do you have out there? How many of you let slip by the wayside? Do what I did. I challenge you actually to do what I did, which was write them down. Don't go for little tiny goals. Go for those goals that people have said, you've lost your mind if you think you're going to do that. Because you want to strive every day. Everything that you do during the day needs to be towards that goal. And I think you'll find it very refreshing and very enlightening to write them down. Keep that list in front of you. And sorry, I just did a few snippets. I didn't want this to be too terribly long. But a recap are some of the main reasons, 3 of the main reasons that Rachel says in her book, why people give up on their dreams and they miss their goals is because a voice of authority tells them to. It's difficult and or it's taking too long. And lastly, something traumatic gets in the way. Our next, so what I really like is for you to leave in the comments, if you're comfortable doing so. Tell us, share with us what some of those dreams are that you're holding out for, something that you've really wanted to do and you've been too afraid to write it down. I challenge you, write it down, and if you're comfortable, share it with us. Also, if you have any book recommendations or podcasts or any kind of enlightenment that you'd like to share with the rest of us, please do so in the comment section. We'd love to learn from you as well. Our next episode, which will probably be not until about next Wednesday, we're going to talk more about the power of your words and how that comes into play too, that negative self-talk that we do a lot. What is that really potentially doing to us as far as our goals and our dreams as well? See, help or hinder our moving forward. So until then, be safe, be happy, have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. See ya. Bye.